Well, it's been a while since he's been here. He's never short of interesting observations and ideas. Let's bring in People's Party leader Maxime Bernier for an update on all things political. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for the invitation.
Are you going to be the leader of the People's Party, or is this legal thing you're facing in BC, has it got a shot of taking your name away from you?
I'm the leader of the party, and that's the same party with the same name. And yes, we are doing what needs to be done in from the court. And I'm very confident that Election Canada did a good team when they approved our name.
Yeah, they approved. You've got your name, got the seal of approval.
The name is approved, and we will fight that in court. And I'm not, impressed by that.
All right. I do want to get your perspective on this Jody Wilson-Raybould thing, because everyone has got a personal opinion and a political one. Do you think this is real interference, or is it a misunderstanding by Jody Wilson-Raybould? Where do you think this is going?
I really don't know. We don't have a lot of information. I hope she would speak. But for me, the big picture is the crony capitalism. You know, this government was ready to make a deal with SNC-Lavalin. And that's a question you must ask also to the leader of the opposition. Mm-hmm. Is he ready to make a special deal for a corporation like that? And I said, no, no special deal, no corporations is above the law. No corporation is above the law. It's very important for us. And, it's too bad for SNC-Lavalin, but the prosecution must go on. And if they go bankrupt, they go bankrupt. We have a bankruptcy law in Canada for that. That's why people are tired with the politicians and all the traditional politicians, the leader of the opposition, the NDP leader, Justin Trudeau. They try to please always the big corporation, giving subsidies to them and big handouts. So we don't believe in that. We want to end corporate welfare. We want to end that crony capitalism in Ottawa. Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, you would have that special deal with SNC-Lavalin. And we need to repeal that clause, that we didn't have that for the last 150 years. Mm-hmm. So now the Liberal government put something in the budget to have a special deal with a corporation. Yeah. It's a shame. It's a shame.
But other countries have it.
Yeah, but it's a shame, Every corporation must be fair. It must be equal and fair. The law must be equally respected by the corporation. So I think we are on the right side of this issue. Right. It's about crony capitalism. That's the question.
So those jobs are expendable because a couple rogue operators did some bribes in Libya.
These people that are working in Montreal and they're doing a good job, I don't know what can happen with their job at the end, but they're very competent, and I'm sure they would be able to find other jobs in Montreal.
I want to ask you about the convoy. It didn't get any attention from the Prime Minister. He didn't address it. He said there was basically some people in it he didn't want to mingle with, and therefore he didn't address. You addressed the convoy. You addressed mostly energy issues when you addressed them.
Absolutely. That's why they were there for that. They were there for that. I spoke with them, and I told them our position, the People's Party position. It's very clear. It's very different than the other party. We said, and I said that in French in Quebec on TV, and Andrew Scheer in Quebec, when they asked a question about using the Constitution to fight, to be sure to build a pipeline, he didn't answer the question. I hope you will ask him the question. Is he able to use the Constitution, Section 9210, to be sure that we'll have a pipeline? And, we need to impose a pipeline if we don't have any agreement. We need to be able to impose a pipeline on Quebec or on BC. It's a federal responsibility. It's a federal jurisdiction. We use that clause for maybe about 200 times in Canada, 9210. But, I'm the only one who told them that I would be ready to do that. And I said that in French in Quebec, and Quebecers understand that. Yeah. They know that it's safer to transport oil and gas by pipeline than by train. Okay. And they know that it's safer for the environment and for the population also. So why the other politician, when speaking with, it's good pipeline, they don't want to use that clause? Because they want to please Quebec. Yep. They're buying votes. They want to buy vote. We don't play that game. We're doing politics differently, and that's why this party is growing.
What is your perspective on the yellow vests? There's some people that say they're white supremacists or they're anti-immigrant and extremists and all that sort of stuff. Do you think that movement's legitimate, and do you think their cause is legitimate and their positions are legitimate?
I was there to be with people who believe in pipelines and who want pipelines to be built. Mm-hmm. And if you had some extremists in that crowd, too bad. But for me, I'm not there to judge their intention. They were there for the cause of being sure in Canada that we'll have a pipeline, and I was telling them what I will do for them. And, everybody in Canada, and that's my role as politician, to speak to them and sing the same thing in English and in French in BC or in Nova Scotia. I'm doing that, and that's our role, to explain to the population why we need pipelines in this country.
Sure, but they do dovetail with your position on immigration, a lot harder border, one that certainly is less open to illegal or improper or irregular.
Then that will come in our party. We have an immigration policy that is very, very serious, and we just want 250 immigrants a year instead of 350. Justin Trudeau decided to increase that by 40%, but only 6% of the population agree with that. 49% of the population, they said that they want fewer immigrants, and we are having that position.
Quick final question. You got three by-elections. Your party's fighting. First time you've had an electoral test of any kind. What's a win look like? What would make you really happy in those by-elections?
More than 1%. No,
I think you're at 4% now. It's right.
Being serious, I think that we have great candidates, and I'm very pleased that the candidate we have different background. James in Montreal worked with the Canadian Forces for 30 years, did an MBA. We had a lawyer that was
Can you come in second, though, on any of these by-elections?
Maybe we don't know. And we have Laura Lynn in Burnaby South. She's very good. So I'll be in Burnaby South tomorrow. So I'll fight with them. But
don't fight with them.
I will help them to win, and I will fight on our ideas. That's what I believe. So we need to fight for what you believe, and I'll do that.
True. All right, Maxime Bernier, always a pleasure having you on.